Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ride the Wave. I'm Shelby.
I'm Kenz.
And this is our second episode of Ride the Wave. So we're pretty excited about that. We just wanted to say thanks for everyone that tuned in last time or had watched our video. We kind of touched base on why we were interested in doing the podcast and kind of just briefly talked about things that had happened in our lives or things that we had happened and how it related to like the podcast and some background. So
very
this
surface level. So we're gonna dig in deeper a little bit tonight.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into that. And I just wanted to apologize if anybody went on the website about the podcast. Those are not updated on the website yet, but we will update as we go and let you guys know. So I just wanted to quick touch on that. So okay, so in the beginning of our podcast, we are now going to pull a card from the Soul's Journey deck. I touched on this briefly last time. Normally I pull a card every single morning, and if I can relate it to my life somehow, or if I'm having struggles throughout the day, I try to touch back on the card and try to bring me back to the moment and bring me back to reality and really not react and just kind of focus on the card. So this is, we're going to pick a card before every show and just kind of have it.
Ask, where'd you get them?
I got them at 1. So we do gong baths at 1, which is
it's like one sound meditation.
Yeah, one sound meditation, which we will post them on our Facebook page. Anybody who is interested, they do sound or gong baths and sound baths, and they have just like a really small shop that you can shop at. But
it's pretty cool though. They do like yoga and stuff too. And
yeah. They've been a big part of both of our healing journeys, I feel, at this point.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll get to the card.
It says doubt. I release the need to know all of the answers.
Ooh, that's a good one. So there's like a little saying on the card with like a little picture and the word, and then it comes with a book that has like a little bit more of a reading. So I'll read what the rest of that says.
It's crazy. Whenever I pull these became my Sunday rituals, like when we would do our podcast about our class and stuff, and they always were like crazy close to my life. Like it's nuts. And this doubt one is definitely
when you
relatable.
Yeah, it's super weird how relatable they usually are. So doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. It's impossible for the human brain to comprehend the mysteries of the universe. You are only consciously aware of the 3 dimensions for a reason, and that is to learn to love without full awareness of your connection to spirit. Everyone has his or her own personal path to this awareness, and there is no right or wrong answer as long as your goal is to manifest the energy of love and compassion. The wisdom of the divine trickles into the physical dimension, and some of it will resonate with your soul and some of it will not. These are your signposts that guide you to your correct path. If the wisdom resonates with you and seems right, then keep it. If not, release it back to the universe. Always be aware and mindful of the insights that your spirit guides and teachers put on your path. Yeah, this really resonates with me because for the longest time, I didn't follow my own intuition. I really just, was winging life, and I didn't know, like, I always questioned my decisions. Like I always needed somebody to back it up. And a lot of times it'd be my mom and, your mom or your dad's usually going to back up what you say. But I always knew what I chose she would approve of. And I think now I really just make decisions for myself to make sure I'm happy. My son's happy. We're both healthy, and it just really resonates with me that you take what resonates with you, but make sure you let go of what doesn't, because you don't have to hold it all in. And I feel like I thought you had to do that, like, oh, I need to keep all of this information because like otherwise I won't be on my correct path or I won't find my purpose, or that's just kind of how I felt. But you have to let go of things that don't resonate with you. I don't know, that hits me.
For me, it's definitely like not needing to know the answer.
Yeah.
Because I am like a very anxious person and like I'm a huge planner, and if things just come at me left field, I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah. I'm not a big planner. I'm a big procrastinator.
Yeah, we're for sure opposites in that.
So
that's okay.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of broke up today's podcast in like age group sections. So we're just going to kind of go over like traumatic events that we've had happen in our lives, what kind of shaped us and what really brought us here, I guess.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the first little section we have is from birth to 5 years old. I was born March 12, 1992. I'm a Pisces. I only say that because I'm more into astrology now. So I just thought I would mention that. My mom, what I remember most from this age is just my dad watched me a lot. My mom worked second shift. So I have a lot of memories, I think, from like pictures, because I don't think a lot of people remember 0 to 5 years old, but I don't know. I just don't. But yeah, I don't have a ton of memories. I just remember I used to play drums with my dad a lot, and we used to listen to music on his speakers a lot, and really just was an outside kid. We rode through the mines. That's where I got my love from the mines, I think, was definitely from my dad, because he took me out there all the time. We went hiking all the time, even just like driving through the mines, listening to music.
I love that you do that with Dawson now too. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a big thing in our family, and I'm really glad that my dad did that with me.
Yeah, that's a fun memory.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
My 0 to 5, I also don't feel like I truly remember a lot. Like, I know my sister was born because I'm 3 years older than her, so she was born. I know I was like obsessed with Barney.
Oh, yeah.
My mom ran a daycare, and so you and Shane were in our daycare. I went to Catholic school then. I do remember that.
I also went to Catholic school, but I went up to Catholic school up until middle school, I think.
I didn't until like 3rd grade. But yeah, I just remember like this time period, I guess, just being like happy or like easy, because everyone's kind of just taking care of you. Like, you're a child.
You're a baby. Okay, so the next age gap we have is 6 years old to 12 years old. My brother was born when I was 6. We immediately moved days after my brother was born, and that's the current house my parents still live in. Oh, okay. So I've only lived in 2 houses my whole life, with my parents. It was very exciting to move. I remember I got to pick my own room. I felt like I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But yeah, I just, I played soccer. Sorry if I'm looking down a lot. I have notes this time, so live and learn. Yeah, it was exciting to move. I tried a lot of new sports. I know I wanted to try all the sports, so I did that. Soccer was my go-to sport, though. I really enjoyed playing soccer. I went to Girl Scout camp, and this always sticks in my mind because, like, I don't know. She's laughing because she knows what I'm going to say, and I've said this 100 times, but my mom always had me go to Girl Scout camp. I used to say that she made me go to Girl Scout camp, but I never told her I hated it. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. But I've already told her this, but I absolutely hated it. And that was just one of the things that I think that I did when I was younger, was like suppress all my emotions. Like, oh, just keep it down. Like, nobody, you keep it to yourself because it's your problem. So I don't know why that stuck with me, but yeah, just the Girl Scout camp thing. I hated it. I would cry at night, and it was like terrible. I wanted to go home. We were in a tent outside. I love being outside now, but like when I was 8 years old, it was not my favorite thing to do. I mean, I think I had fun during the day, but like emotions really weren't talked about. So I don't really remember like talking with my parents about like problems or anything. Anger was literally the emotion that my household resulted to. If anything, bad or like anything stressful, anything. It was like chaos, anger, yelling, like it was just a lot of chaos, I guess I was used to growing up in. And that stuck with me because I had a lot of chaos when I got older too. But yeah, so you're 6 to 12?
My 6 to 12. Okay, well, I moved to a new house when I was going into like 3rd grade, I think. And so because of that move, I had to go from Catholic school to public school. And that was like the scariest transition for me.
It's a huge
like,
eye opener.
Yeah, first of all, like our class sizes were tiny.
Yeah.
In Catholic school. I knew what I had to wear every day. Like those were my friends, and
you never had to worry. Yeah, clothing was not a thing. No. You wore a collared shirt and pants or a skirt or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it.
Exactly. And I think on here, Cassie said she went to Catholic school too. And it's crazy the difference. Like seriously. So yeah, I just remember being terrified because I was super shy. I didn't like talking to people. Still am kind of that way now.
Yeah, me too.
And then I was just remember being like, what do I wear? Like they're gonna think I'm weird or like I don't know. So that was like my biggest first like real life change, I think, that I like experienced. And then a few years later, I experienced loss for the first time. So in the same year, my grandparents had passed away. So my dad's mom, my grandma Judy, passed away, and then my mom's stepdad passed away. So that was like the first time I experienced loss, really, and like dealing with like that stuff. And I remember like seeing my dad super sad sometimes. Like he would try to like hide it from us, and that's like I felt really sad for him. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like that's my dad.
Yeah, and as a kid, that's like kind of hard to take in because you're like, how do I react to that?
What am I supposed to do? And then I remember like a holiday after my grandpa passed. My grandma was at our house for the holidays, and like I just remember her like holding me and like crying, and I was just like, super just crazy sad, and it was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I remember like that kind of happened. I experienced like traveling. So we went to Hawaii, I remember, which was a super cool vacation. And I'm pretty sure we went to like Arizona, probably other places. I don't remember. I don't know. But my mom worked at the airport. So we kind of had an advantage. And we're able to travel.
That's pretty cool though.
It was super cool. Yeah. And then I did like sports and all that. So I did like martial arts. I tried soccer, but then I quit because they wouldn't put me in the blue team. After like 3 years, I was getting pissed. I kept having to be on a green team, like green jerseys.
Oh god!
And blue was my favorite color.
I got all the colors. I played lots of years in the base.
I only did like 2 or 3, and each year I'm like, I want to be on the blue team. Like I want a blue jersey. Always got green. I was like,
that's great.
Forget this. And then I did martial arts and basketball and volleyball. And then year 11 is when my parents got divorced. So that was like a second huge life change. Yeah. Probably like my most traumatic one at that point for sure. Just because that was hard. I was 11. Mm-hmm. My sister was 8. Like we were both super young. And there's a lot of changes. Moved into an apartment, like had to move out of our house. We had dogs. We had to like give up our animals, like all this shit. And we're just like, what's going on?
I can't imagine.
Like, so that was like really crazy hard to adjust to. That's, a bulk of really what I remember during those years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to look back and like, well, for me, it's hard to remember things in order. Like sometimes I'm like off a little bit, but like once kind of going back on like my earlier years, but like once I was a teenager, I feel like I really held on to like the anger that was in my house because I thought like that's what you do. Like when you like are sad or angry or like things aren't going your way or you're stressed, you just get mad about it.
Yeah.
Like I really like even all my relationships in high school, like any relationship, like if I wasn't physically fighting, I was probably verbally fighting with people, like lots of drinking. But
I just like learned to like shut down kind of, I think. Because I feel like I didn't know what to think during that time. And I like felt like I had to like be there for my sister because she was like younger than me and would like ask me, like questions about it. And like
I
I
feel,
don't know.
yeah.
And then I just would like shut down and I just like don't talk about anything. And everything's just fine.
I had such a like mixture of emotions, I think. Like I also felt like I protected my brother. My brother's 6 years younger than me. And like just all the chaos that we had in our household, I always felt like I was like protecting him from it. And I feel like it's such an age gap, like I'm not speaking for him, but I think we view it way differently. Like like events that have happened. For
I went
both
to
of
like
us.
therapy like after that, I think one time because I was just like a really angry teenager and just like lost my shit kind of. And we went to like one session and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And but I remember her saying like the oldest like take it the hardest. Usually. But
yeah, because you always feel like you have to protect the younger one.
Right.
But I also switched from Catholic to public school when I was in 6th grade, though. So I was probably 12. Is that 12, 11? I'm not sure. But that was a huge eye-opener. Like she said, the uniforms, just the dynamic of like the boys and girls in general. And I don't know if it was just
way more kids.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like your class of like 10, 15, whatever.
And you have multiple different teachers.
Yeah.
Like normally you know all the teachers anyway because it's such a small like school, but it's so strange like walking in the halls and then actually like being made fun of, and like it's weird because when I went to Nativity and I didn't feel like there was like any bullying or like I don't really remember any of that from my younger years. But then I get in, and it's not necessarily like bullying for me, but just like even witnessing it was really weird.
Cassie says, and the clothes they wore and the makeup. Yeah, makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I went
eyeliner,
3rd grade, I guess, so I didn't really wear makeup when I transitioned.
When I transitioned in 6th grade, big, thick black eyeliner, the mascara. I didn't really wear. Actually, no. Foundation was like liquid foundation that you were like wiping all over your face
way
and
too
like
dark for your
down your neck because it didn't match. Like
talking about the thick eyeliner, Cassie. I know you're watching. That's your jam. Still is.
Oh,
just because I still do that. Yeah.
Hey,
it's her thing.
Not judging. No. I'm not here to judge.
I love it. She'll say she always is like, yeah, I still wear the same makeup I do in high school. Like,
that's your jam, man.
It. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. So, I guess just. Yeah. So in middle school, I'd say is when I started being a little bad kid.
You were still junior. Yeah. You were junior high. So we were like the last junior high people.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah. So it was only 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
When I was there. Yeah.
I went to high school the year that they like started the whole middle school thing. So I was like, oh, cool.
Like, I think Shane was in that 6th grade. That was like the first one. I think. I can't remember though. Or close to it. But yeah, that was like I don't know, a weird thing to just add in the 6th grade.
Yeah. I think my sister was. The 90s style rocked.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked growing up in the 90s. I loved all the like, what was that? Like the bright colored stickers with the animals and all the rainbow colors. And anybody help me out? I don't know, like all those notebooks and like they just had tons of fun things that like
Lisa Frank
they were probably all Lisa Frank notebooks and stuff. Like I'm sure all this stuff was really bad for us, but like I don't know. It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
I
love
enjoy
looking back at pictures and it's like
too.
some of it it's like, what did you put me in?
And the haircuts.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are great. But yeah, so I started like sneaking out in middle school, and like when I would sleep over at friends' house, we would just like walk the neighborhoods at like 12 years old for some reason. But yeah, started drinking heavily in high school. Freshman year, I'd say I didn't really drink. Sophomore year was the year I really started drinking. Sneaking out, drinking every single night that I could.
Did you still play sports in high school? Did you do soccer like all throughout?
So I played soccer freshman year, sophomore year, and then I quit junior year.
Okay.
And then I played volleyball freshman and sophomore year because I wasn't really good at it. I just wanted to play it.
Yeah.
But I was just so bad. I was just like, okay, just stop. But whatever. So yeah, I still did like the sports. I still went to like all the events and like the pep rallies and the dances, and I just partied on top of all of that, which I think
Like
we all kind of did. Yeah, we all did
not
it.
Everyone, but a majority of
Yeah,
us, for
a big
sure.
majority. And then when I was 16, I had a pretty traumatic event happen at my house when I wasn't there, and I'm not going to share it on here because I'm just not ready to yet. But I felt like that really stuck with me, and that really shaped a lot of my later years because it just made me more angry. I'm sorry I can't elaborate more on it. I'm just not comfortable yet, but it was just like in my family household, we had something happen, and then my dad no longer lived with us for a few months, and it was just a big change, and it just made me more angry because all through my childhood I had anger, and then this just topped it. So
like it made you didn't feel like safe.
What?
So I feel like maybe you didn't feel like safe
Yeah.
too, and that just made you angry.
And I guess it just sorry. Lost where I was. But so yeah, when I was 16, I had that happen, and then I think my drinking just went way more off the deep end because I was like, well, I can now do whatever I want because I just can. And that's how I was. From there forward, I was going to do what I wanted when I wanted, and like I was constantly like getting drunk and like causing fights, and people didn't want to invite me places because I would get so belligerently drunk and just want to fight people because I just had so much anger in me, and I just didn't know how to let it go. Because growing up, we didn't really talk about our feelings, so it was just kind of like it happened. We maybe had a 10 to 15 minute conversation that nobody wanted to have, so nobody really talked, and we went to bed and moved on the next day. Like, I don't feel like I was ever really disciplined in high school. I was yelled at, but I still did what I wanted. And that was just what I did. Like, I'm not talking bad about my parents or anything like that. That's just, that just was the way it was. And I think a lot of people back then grew up that way. And
yeah, I definitely don't remember ever like talking about your feelings or like if you're upset, just like you don't act like that way or like whatever.
Right.
And it's not really like explained like your emotions, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then we definitely would have arguments, whatever, in my house, and you just are awkward the whole rest of that night or whatever, and then wake up the next day and you're just like whatever.
Mm-hmm. Or nobody talks to each other. But
yeah,
I just think that this is just my own personal thoughts, that I think like back in those days, I don't think anybody was taught to deal with their emotions or make sure that they're taken care of so they can take care of their own children and their family. And I think a lot of people work themselves to burnout, and then they just kept going because that was the only choice they had. So just a lot of like past trauma of years and years and years and centuries of your family, and all put on you is a lot. So it's hard to I think it's hard to break that because it's normal to you, it seems normal to act that way because that's what you grew up around.
You don't know anything different at that point, that's just kind of what it is. Cassie said something too.
I know, I'm sorry, we're like far away and I cannot read them that well.
What are you doing with Dawson to help break that? And I think it's still hard to teach people how to express their emotions, which is super, super true.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm working on myself. I'm going to make sure I know how to love myself. And properly express my emotions, because how am I gonna teach him how to do it if I don't know how to do it? So we're learning together, me and Dawson.
Yeah.
We're growing as a team.
I think you do a good job. Like, I see it like when I'm with you guys, where you like talk to him maybe about like how he's feeling, instead of like if we're out in public and he's like tired or whatever, you know, and he like has a tantrum, you're not just like, dude, like yelling at him. Like, you're kind of just like, here's the thing, like, I get it, like, whatever, and this is what we're gonna do, and then you like leave, whatever, he calms down, whatever the outcome is, but you like talk him through it instead of just trying to like shush him.
Yeah, yelling's not a thing for me. I don't yell at my child. I also make sure that I apologize when I'm in the wrong, which I think is a big thing, because even though I am the adult, I still make mistakes, and he needs to know that when you make a mistake, you apologize. So I really like that one. Sorry, I'm trying to read.
Said I love that. It's so hard. And Leah's a lot, but so am I. Just a little bit, Cass.
That's all right, though.
Yeah.
You know,
there you go. You're aware. You want to work on it.
Yep.
Yep. I think I love that you do thankfuls.
So one thing I do with my son every morning is we do 3 thankfuls every morning. So when we wake up, sometimes it's a little later, but I try to do 3 thankfuls with my son every morning. And sometimes it's repetitive, but I just let him pick what he wants. Sometimes he says the TV, sometimes he says me, sometimes he says the cat. You know, it's a bunch of different things. Yeah.
Kenz got Cabo with me. I was like,
yes. So I think that is a big thing that I've changed in my own life as well, is just being thankful for things. You know, I was always looking for the next thing, or what's the next thing that's going to make me happy, or why am I not happy where I'm at? What is going to fix this? And it's really just slowing down and realizing what you have around you and who you have around you, and that, you know.
Yeah, gratitude is so important. Yeah. It just helps you not to dwell on the negative in your life too, where you're just like, holy shit, like I really do have a lot of good things. So this one thing that I thought was huge really is not, and let me not let that ruin my entire day, because I have way better things to think about.
I let that ruin so many days in my past. Little things that
literally don't matter.
Yeah,
like
not one bit. And I couldn't, if I can't do anything to change it in that moment, what's the point of getting upset about it or worrying about it? Or, you know, if I can't do anything to change it, I just have to accept what it is and move on.
Yeah,
for that day.
Cass says you're doing such a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Kudos to you, she says.
Did you do your?
Not yet. I think we kind of just went on a tangent.
Rambled on, but hey, whatever.
But yeah, my experience, high school, I did sports. I played basketball and club volleyball. I started partying too. Definitely not crazy though, because I would get grounded, and my parents actually would ground my ass. So there were times when I would like sneak out for sure. I lived with my dad, and he gave me a bedroom that had a door to go outside.
To the outside?
Like, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go to bed. And I would, like, sleep with music. And then, boom.
Yeah, I also didn't mention this, but anytime, like, anybody wanted to stay out or sneak out, that we'd always say that they were staying at my house, because I would literally be the only one that drives home. And I would go in my mom's room and be like, Mom, we're home. Yeah. And then I would literally just walk right back out the door and drive back over. I'm sorry, Mom. I don't think I ever told her that.
But yeah. I finally told my dad about how we would sneak out, because we would go down my stairs and you'd have to go walk around my house. And there was just this tiny little area that you could kind of just like wobble through without going through the yard, where you'd definitely be noticed, right? But there's a tiny little window, and that leads like right to our living room, where my dad was all the time, because he watched TV. He's a huge ESPN person. He was always watching television, and I could just like see him, and then we would just like leave. And my dad's like, how did I never find out? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like,
you're ninjas.
Did your parents work with each other or against each other with groundings? How did co-parenting?
Oh, good question.
So they definitely would kind of like agree. Like, I mean, I don't know their communication because I wasn't really a part of it, never talked about it. But I know if I was like in trouble with one parent, I was still in trouble with the other parent. My dad was definitely way more lenient than my mom. We would get a lot like away with more with him for sure. I don't know if it's because we saw him less or I don't know. But that's just kind of my dad's just so nice.
What was how often were you with your mom? How often were you with your dad?
I was with my dad every Wednesday and then every other weekend. So really not very
like
often.
Just Wednesday night or
just Wednesday night. Well, we'd stay over, but then every other weekend.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, my mom was definitely way more of the grounder. Her phone was gone a lot. At one point, though, in high school, my parents did get back together briefly, and that totally messed with my head, at least. I don't know about my sister, but it was just like they're back together. I don't even really remember how long. Like, it feels like a long time, but I truthfully don't know. And then they weren't together anymore, and then we had to move into like another apartment with her and stayed in the one house we were living at with my dad. And so that was like a lot. Like, it was just kind of like being let down all over again in a way. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, yes, I do realize.
So then I was just super angry because I did not know how to express my emotions. I didn't like want to talk about it because I felt like if I talked about it, I would like make them feel sad for making like me feel sad or something. Like, so that's when my people pleasing started because that right there is people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think that's like one of the worst ones is your parents.
Dude.
Because like even though they love us and we know that they want the best for us, we have to live our own lives. We have to make our own decisions. And if they don't see eye to eye with our decisions, they just have to accept that and love us for who we are and accept us for our decisions. In my opinion, that's what I'll do with my kid. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me is like, it's just really okay to make mistakes. Like, I don't have to be anxious or like be perfect. Like, that was like my big thing, I feel. Because I just always like wanted to have the good grades and be the best in sports and this and that and whatever else. Like my parents are really not going to love me if I'm not the best at something.
I was definitely, I was definitely the opposite in high school. It was super easy for me to get good grades. So I put no effort into it and I didn't want any extra effort. So if I had to be in like what were they called? AP classes. I was like,
same.
So I like would always drop down to the regular because I didn't want to do it. Like I didn't have to do any extra work. So
I was in like all honors and AP classes, and some of them I definitely did not belong in. I was like, whatever, make my way through that. And then, that was my biggest thing was kind of just my parents. And then, I was just really kind of angry. I was really mean to my parents just because, I didn't know how to process my emotions and everything just came out as anger, which I feel like is pretty typical. Like usually when you're angry, it's because you actually like hurt about something. You don't know how to talk about it, you know? And so, there was
anger is a secondary emotion.
Yeah. Like I just remember my dad and I like didn't get along a lot, mostly just because we were so similar and I don't know. Yeah.
And then I always had my mom reminding me that I was like my dad.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Crazy.
I don't know. Anyway. Okay. So on to 18 to 25 and up is what I have next.
Yep.
After high school, I did a semester in Iowa, which was just a big party. I just went there and partied basically and wasted all my savings. And that was that.
What does anger as a secondary emotion mean?
So there's like certain emotions that are like the core emotion. And a lot of times people say anger is the secondary emotion to like being hurt or sadness. So to cover up your sadness, a lot of people get angry about it. So that's what I mean about by anger as a secondary emotion.
Yeah.
But so cool. All right. So Iowa was just a big party. Barely passed my classes. The class I thought I wasn't going to pass, I dropped out of because I was like, I don't need that kind of accountability that I'm not going to pass. I came back home because I felt I was homesick. I also felt I was expected to continue college, even though I thought I wanted to be an x-ray tech, but like my life got way veered off. So at the time I thought I wanted to go to college, but I don't think I really wanted to go to college. But I did go to NICC when I came back to my hometown. for an x-ray tech. I was in general ed classes for about 2 years, I think. Nope, just one, I think. Like I said, it's kind of blurry, sorry. When I was going to school, I just partied even harder in Dubuque. I started snorting pills more often, drinking all the time. I would go days without going to my house, even though I was an adult, but like wearing the same clothes for days, just partying with people all day and night, sleeping at random houses. I mean, I was just a mess, like, and trying to go to school all on top of it, and work a job. So I finally actually got into the X-ray tech program because there was a wait list. And when that happened, I unfortunately started doing heroin. So at first, I honestly thought it was recreational use. And I just was snorting it maybe every few days. But then you quickly get dependent on it and your body will get physically ill if you don't have it. So that turned into an everyday thing, and snorting turned into shooting with needles. So that was that's a whole addiction in itself, I think, on top of the heroin use. So yeah, it's very a lot. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, my life was very blurry at this time. I would show up to family events and I would literally be falling asleep at the table eating dinner. And like it was just treated like I just needed a nap. I don't know. I'm not really sure what their thoughts were because I can't speak for them, but I always felt like I was just treated like I was sick, which I mean makes sense because I was sick.
Have you like ever talked to them about it?
Who?
Like your parents or like
my parents
family?
I've talked to, my grandparents I have not, other family members I have not really talked to about. I mean, they cheer me on all the time, you know, with how awesome they say how awesome I'm doing and everything. But yeah, I've never talked to them about like old holidays and stuff because I 100% was falling asleep at the table trying to eat food. Like, oh, maybe
so
you need
curious.
to go lay down in bed. And that's what I would do. Would just go sleep in the bed and then it'd be time to go. And then I'd just go back to wherever I was living or whatever I was doing. Crazy. Like, yeah, it was it was a crazy life. Like the weird shit that went on.
Yeah. I'm curious to like know what their experience was. You know what I mean?
From their side of it. Yeah, me too. Yeah. That would be maybe a podcast.
Yeah.
But so I would pretty much, I pretty much burned through all my money, got a loan, burned through that money, anything and anywhere and any way I could get money from my parents or ask money was how I would get it, or anyone. That eventually turned into just taking what I needed, stealing, you know, lying, pawning items that were not mine. And yeah, so that was kind of just a mess. And I
did you lose friendships at this time?
Honestly, I would say I lost them probably way before then. I was in touch like maybe through Facebook with a few of my closer friends and they knew what was going on. So I think it was just, it was never really talked about. I think we maybe got in a fight one time with maybe two of my close friends, but it was just kind of like we just grew apart because I was just jumping down this deep hole and, you know, I definitely didn't want to bring anyone with me. So
yeah,
I just didn't stop talking to everybody. Really just kind of grew apart from everybody. I was dating someone and it was just me and him and drugs and that was our focus and anybody in our drug world and that was about it. That's about the parameters of what I lived in.
Did anyone ever like call you out about it?
I did have two friends call me out. And I I can't remember what my response was, but I think it was just like, I'm just having fun type of thing. Like I did it one time type of thing, and then it quickly turned into something else. But other than that, I don't recall anyone calling me out until I was like really, really bad, which I'll get into. But yeah. So anyways, with the rambling, the family events,
Cassie said, looking back, are you lonely?
were you lonely? But I'm sure you maybe didn't feel. Well, I was very codependent with the person I was dating, and I was very codependent, obviously, on the drug itself. So we were always with each other all the time. I mean, if I was at work, we were constantly like texting. I mean, it was just very, you know what I mean?
I remember when he would call in Daru when you worked there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, codependency is very hard, and you don't realize you're in it until looking back at your life. But I feel like it's that's not talked about a lot either. I don't think codependency, and I think a lot of people suffer from that, because what I truly believe is people don't honestly know how to love themselves, and we were never taught to love yourself or take care of yourself and be number one for yourself so you can be the best. Well, I wasn't. I can't speak for anybody else, but I just feel in general in that generation that
we were always just taught how to treat others. I think we're always treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Constantly. Okay, but like, how am I supposed to treat myself?
Yeah.
Like, you don't ever get told that. I feel anyways, at least in my experience, I guess. But
yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah. I remember, can I share a Rue story? You care?
Go ahead.
So I used to work at Route 21, and so did she. And I remember
in a very, very bad time of my life, I was heavy on heroin and 100% was sick if I did not have it.
Yeah. And so
and she was a manager at the time.
So I remember one time we were working together. It was like maybe a weekend, maybe. I don't even know. It was a morning, like daytime shift. But I get a phone call, and it's someone saying that it's her dad. And I'm just sitting here like, this is not her dad. Like, I know her dad's voice. Like, this is not him. But I'm like, okay. And I'm like, Shelby, I have a phone call. And she's like, who? And I'm like, your dad? But it's not really your dad. Like, I don't know. Like,
you're like a mystery man?
Yeah. Like, I just played stupid. You know, so I'm like, whatever. But yeah. She's like, family emergency, I gotta go. And I'm just like, okay. So then I'm nosy and like talk to my Uncle Jeff, who looked at me. I'm like, was there like an emergency or something with the Sweeney family? And he's like, no, you know, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, nothing. But it was just hilarious.
There was no extent that I would go to either get out of something or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Cheapers. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so I was in this codependent relationship, and we were both heavy into drugs, and unfortunately he passed away one day while we were both doing drugs. And we dated for 6 years, and that was probably one of the most traumatic things I went through, being there. And basically I woke up and he didn't. And from then on, I really decided that I didn't give a shit about anything. And I was really just gonna continue doing drugs, and I didn't care about myself at all. But the day after he passed away, I was committed to 2 North. And due to my own actions up in 2 North, I was not able to go to his funeral. They did not feel like I was safe enough to leave and go to his funeral. So that really kind of was like another punch in the gut. But sorry, I'm wasting the time. But I went to multiple rehabs after that, and I ran from a rehab. I was kicked out of my parents' house. I lived in couches. I slept in vehicles. I slept in trailers with no electricity and no running water. Homeless for a very long time. And then I started to get arrested for things because I was running out of ways to get money. So I just started stealing from stores, and obviously that's, you're not going to get away with that. So I started getting arrested, and then eventually I got caught cashing checks that were not written by me. And were not written by the person that owned the checks. And I was put in jail, and they gave me the option of drug court, and I took it. And while in drug court, I was basically doing whatever I wanted and still kind of getting away with it. Like I would pass UAs. Sometimes I would slip up and it would not pass, but basically.
Cassie says, what is drug court?
Oh, so drug addicts that get into, I don't necessarily even know if it's all drug addicts, but if you get in a lot of trouble and they know you're a drug user, drug court is an option that they give you to try to help you to get clean, instead of like jail time or just probation. But wholeheartedly, anyone that's listening, I would not suggest drug court. Someone that's in a position to use drugs, like that wants to use drugs, and then they pile all of this other stuff on top of you, I just don't think it's genuine. If they had a more genuine approach to it and actually wanted to help these people, I would feel like it would be more helpful. But in my eyes, drug court was looking for ways to get you in trouble and looking for ways to keep you locked up and keep you in the halfway house. And like, not one time did I feel like I was getting help, but I also didn't want help. So people that want help, that might be very helpful to them. But my perspective was not good on the drug court. But so, yeah, I ended up being in drug court for a few months, and I hated it. Did not want to be in it. I had to do multiple sassy classes, multiple AA, NA classes during the week. Yeah, Cassie, I do think they set you up to fail. I think they give you just enough rope to hang yourself, basically. But that's just my perspective of it. Someone else could have a very different one. What?
Oh, right on there said, congratulations on your sobriety. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you very much.
We got 10 minutes
okay.
left.
Sorry, I killed your last bit. But so anyway, I ended up getting pregnant when I was in drug court, and it was probably the best thing that happened to me. But at the time, my parents were not happy. Nobody thought we could handle a child, and they were probably right, because we were just two drug addicts that were lost, I feel like. But so when I became pregnant, I knew I did not want to continue drug court. So I ran from drug court. So what I mean by that is I left Dubuque completely, stopped going to all of my classes, stopped going to court every week, stopped seeing my probation officer. So eventually I had a warrant out for my arrest. And when I decided to run from drug court, I knew that my option was prison. So I knew I was going to prison, but I was still using, and I was pregnant. So I knew I had to make a choice, because I could not continue to keep using. So eventually I turned myself in, and I did 7 months in prison while I was pregnant. I had my son in prison. It was a terrible experience. I felt like I was robbed of my pregnancy, but again, my own choices. And I feel like if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be here today. So I am thankful for everything that I went through. And yeah.
Love you.
I love you.
I'm so proud of you.
And my son is definitely my savior, and I love him so much.
He's the coolest, for real. Love you. Okay, well, I'll make mine kind of fast.
Sorry.
You're good. You had
last time we didn't have enough.
way more stuff than me, I feel. Okay, so with me, 18 to 25 and up, I guess. 18 and up, really.
Yeah.
At this point. I was in my very first toxic relationship. It was just not a great situation for me to be in, not a good person to be with. I experienced a lot of trauma. I lost a lot of friends during that period just because I would like hide from the world almost just so like nobody would see how unhappy I was.
Right.
I think. And so that I just really lost touch with myself. I did not like myself anymore. I finally like picked myself out of it. And then I just really had to like regain my friendships because I felt super alone. Like I literally just didn't have any friends anymore. So I started trying to like reach out to friends. I made new friends, like Cassie that's on here. I met her during this time and she's one of my best friends. She actually like really helped pull me out of that relationship. Yeah, so that kind of really sucked. During that time, I started my job at CMB and I've been there for 8 years. So I've been like working my way up there. So that was a really positive thing that happened to me. And then I got engaged and then I wasn't engaged. So that was a lot. Still kind of dealing with it now with my partner because we now have a child together. And that was a shock. I actually found out around this time last year that I was pregnant. And that was crazy.
Yeah, you didn't get to go to the Goo Goo Dolls with me.
I know, that was really sad.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we like broke up in January and then a few months later we're pregnant. So we just kind of still started talking, you know, we're still talking to each other, whatever. I mean, we obviously love each other, but just have a lot of things to work out. Yeah, growing for sure.
It's what life is, growing.
Yeah, pretty much. So now I'm just adjusting to life with a 3-month-old who's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
He's the coolest
the best.
3-month-old.
Yeah. My little mini me. But we're just adjusting and it's adjusting to co-parenting, but also like just figuring out our relationship and where I'm at in life and like really just focusing on me for once, which I just really never do. I kind of always am like, let me help everybody else with all their problems. And then it's like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, and then I just freeze. Like, yep, I'm good. It's cool. So I'm really learning to open up and be vulnerable and try new things and just live for me for once.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like, I'm glad that I truly believe that everything happens for a reason and timing is everything. And I just kind of have some things going on right now that like timing is so weird, but like just seems right. So
yeah,
like just like
it's
us doing this podcast,
right? Like who'd ever thought? Kathy says you're one of the strongest people I know. Kenz, I'm so proud of you. There you are. Thanks, Cass. I love you.
All right, so that was just kind of the rundown of like our lives. We wanted to be vulnerable before we brought people on to tell their vulnerability. And we just want to show that we can relate and we just want to, you know, bring awareness to things that we think are important. So, yeah.
Melissa says, proud of you too. It takes a lot to put yourself out there, especially at your ages. Aww,
Thank you.
Thank you. You had a huge part in that, Melissa.
Yeah, you did. You really did.
Building our confidence. Take her class. I'm serious.
Yeah, she has an amazing self-love class. All of her classes are amazing.
Yeah, truly.
But, all right.
Yeah.
What was the last one?
So, I mean, since we have a few minutes left, we just have a few ideas kind of going forward with our podcast and kind of like the structure and what we want it to be. So we're going to bring on guests and have them kind of share their stories all about different topics of things that I think a lot of people go through, but nobody talks about. Yeah. You know, so it's just...
Yeah. Or they don't talk about like the realness of it and we just want
to bring people together and just like realize, you know, like shit happens with everybody and you're just way more alike than you think.
Yeah, and comparing your life to other people on social media is like one of the worst things you could do.
Yeah.
Like you just need to be out there and in the moment and living your life. And I couldn't like I wouldn't be on here if I wasn't taking my own advice. So
Yeah.
I just want to help other people maybe get it quicker than I did.
Yeah. And so if anybody who's listening has any suggestions on like topics maybe they want to hear about, let us know on our Facebook page.
Yeah. So our Facebook page is Paper Planes Boutique. And then we also have a website, which is under our name here on the screen. It's paperplanesco.com. And with that website, we're just kind of doing like our journey. So apologies about it not being updated yet, but we're really trying to get, like, we did a cryo session. We have a couple just voice recorded podcasts that we wanted to put on there. We kind of just have like a little bio of our lives, and we're just going to bring you along on what we're doing. So feel free to go check it out and
post random things about things we try or things about our day or like positive messages. So yeah, you can comment on there or like direct message us, email us, whatever, to give us ideas where we would love to talk about things. We also kind of thought about the anonymous like idea, if you want to talk about that.
What do you mean?
Like, so if you out there have a traumatic story that you think could help other people, or even if you just want to let it out and maybe you're not ready kind of to share it with the world yourself, direct message us.
Yeah,
and we
feel free to write us. Whatever you want to share, whatever you feel you need to get out, we'll talk about it for you.
Yeah. Not all anonymous too, you know.
Yeah. But, or leave your name, whatever you want.
I think that
we're just here and we're just riding the wave.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We also plan to sell like Ride the Wave shirts. Just
we're gonna try to do some cool like positive affirmation, like bring some positivity into the world, and like, I don't know, just instead of all the negative, look at the positive. That's what we're really trying to do here. But
yeah, so that'll all be on our page.
Yeah.
And
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think this
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We're really glad you joined. Like, share, tell your friends about us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody.
Keep riding that wave.